Good afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, the Commission on Elections junks a disqualification petition against Senator-elect Erwin Tulfo. The Trump administration bars Harvard University from enrolling international students. Rapper Kid Cudi testifies in the sex trafficking trial of hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs. And Disney announces major delays for the next two films in the Avengers franchise. The rift between Trump 2.0 and Harvard takes a turn for the worse. Homeland Security has terminated the elite university's student and exchange visitor program certification. This means Harvard can no longer enroll international students, and existing foreign students must transfer or lose their legal status. Harvard calls the move unlawful, but one analyst doesn't think so.
So I don't believe it's illegal. Foreign student visas are a privilege, not an entitlement. In particular, students cannot enter the United States if they provide support for designated terrorist organizations. They wouldn't be allowed to enter the United States. The Trump administration wants to remove students who've provided support to designated terrorist organizations like Hamas, and they want to be able to know which students have done that. So they want access to disciplinary records and to videos of protests.
The Trump administration has targeted Harvard for rejecting its demand to change its policies to help fight anti-Semitism on campus. Still in the U.S., as the suspect in the shooting of two Israeli embassy staff gets charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez is accused of opening fire at a group of people outside the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. Police say he even shouted "Free Palestine" after he was taken into custody. Rodriguez was also charged with murder of foreign officials, causing death with a firearm, and discharging a firearm in a crime of violence. The case is being investigated as a hate crime and terrorism. On to the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs as rapper Kid Cudi testifies as a prosecution witness. Cudi told a Manhattan federal court Combs broke into his home in 2011 after learning he was dating the hip-hop mogul's on and off Philam girlfriend Cassie Ventura. Cudi also accused Combs of being involved in a Molotov cocktail attack that damaged his Porsche. Prosecutors say these were among a number of violent acts that the rapper undertook during a 2-decade scheme to coerce women to take part in drug-fueled sex parties and prevent them from leaving his orbit. Combs' lawyers have acknowledged he has a history of drug abuse and domestic violence, but they claim the women who took part in the so-called freak-offs did so consensually. In royal news, Britain's Prince and Princess of Wales attend a naming ceremony for the Royal Navy's newest warship in Scotland. Wearing a Navy outfit to match the occasion, Kate officially named the HMS Glasgow by smashing a whiskey bottle against the ship. The royal couple later boarded the vessel and visited the BAE Systems Shipbuilding Academy, where they met apprentices and graduates. Here at home, the Commission on Elections junks a petition that sought to disqualify Senator-elect Erwin Tulfo from the midterm polls. The lawmaker insists issues raised against him in the case have long been resolved. Our Mojo Ivy Reyes reports.
A legal victory for Senator-elect Erwin Tulfo as Comelec dismissed a disqualification petition filed against him over lack of evidence. In a 27-page decision dated May 22nd, the poll body refuted all grounds to disqualify Tulfo due to his citizenship, libel conviction in 2008, educational background, and participation in a political dynasty. The burden of proof rests on the petitioner, said Presiding Commissioner Ray Bulay. In fact, Comelec asserts the petition is already lacking in form because one of the petitioners, Graft Free Philippines, isn't a registered political party under Comelec, which, according to Bulay, is already a demerit on their end. That Tulfo should be disqualified because he's convicted of libel is worth noting because the revised penal code says a person's conviction cannot be held against him 5 years after serving his sentence.
May SCRA, may Supreme Court resolution dyan stating na yan lang yung about libel na perpetual disqualification. Pero it says there, meron pong footnote doon na after 5 years that you serve your sentence, after 5 years, you can run.
In Tulfo's case, he served his sentence consecutively when he paid 6,000 pesos for each count and about 1 million pesos in damages. The petitioners were further negated when Comelec pointed out that their allegations pertaining to his American citizenship hold no water because he never sustained any of the requirements to acquire American citizenship. During Tulfo's sit-down interview on Billionaire News channel's On Point, he repeatedly denied these allegations.
Kasi naman, I'm speaking of the truth. I was born in Tacloban, Leyte. They can go to PSA. I'll give them even a written authority to get documents that I'm a natural-born Filipino.
Also, the alleged passport submitted by the petitioners does not bear his name, only of a certain Erich Sylvester Tulfo. Meanwhile, Comelec also stressed in the decision that the dynasty complaint is dismissible because there is no self-executing law on political dynasty yet. While Article 2 of our Constitution has a level of prohibition on dynasties up to the fourth consanguinity, the law clearly has to define what constitutes a dynasty, which to this day is not clear yet. Ivy Reyes, Billionaire News Channel.
The Comelec First Division has also dismissed a disqualification petition that prompted the suspension of the proclamation of Bagong Henerasyon party list. Meanwhile, Duterte Youth, whose proclamation was also deferred, has an appeal to the Comelec. Joash Malimban joins us now for the details. Joash, what's the latest?
Mai Duterte Youth party list is calling for the resignation of Comelec Chairman George Garcia following President Bongbong Marcos' statement urging courtesy resignations across government agencies. Duterte Youth Chairman Ronald Cardema accused the poll body of politicking after the National Board of Canvassers suspended the proclamation of party list winners last Monday. Cardema claimed that the move was politically motivated and unjustly targeted their group, which garnered 2.3 million votes in the midterm elections, the second highest among party list groups, securing them 3 seats in the 20th Congress. The Comelec, however, clarified that the decision to suspend the proclamation was made by the NBOC in response to a petition filed a day before the scheduled proclamation. The petition sought to resolve disqualification issues against Duterte Youth dating back to 2019. The grounds of the petition center on the group's alleged failure to comply with basic accreditation requirements, including the lack of a proper publication and public hearing when they initially sought recognition as a party list group in 2019. Meanwhile, the Comelec First Division has dismissed a similar petition that previously suspended the proclamation of Bagong Henerasyon party list. This is still subject to a motion for reconsideration. However, if the petitioner does not file an MR within 5 days, a proclamation decision will be drafted for the BH party list. The Comelec has yet to issue a final ruling on Duterte Youth status as questions surrounding their qualification remain pending. Mai.
Joash, any word on when we might finally get a decision on Duterte Youth?
Mai, the Comelec did not give an exact date yet, but they vowed to release a decision before the assumption of office on June 30. Mai.
Thank you for that report, Joash Malimban. Another incident of Chinese harassment in the West Philippine Sea. Videos from the Philippine Coast Guard show the Chinese Coast Guard firing water cannons and sideswiping a vessel from the Fisheries Bureau. The incident took place on May 21st while the agency was conducting a routine mission near Pag-asa K2. Beijing accuses Philippine vessels of illegally entering its waters. It also claims one of the ships ignored multiple warnings and approached a Chinese vessel dangerously. China likewise urges what it calls relevant embassies of some external countries to verify the facts before commenting. U.S. Ambassador Mary Kay Carlson earlier said on X, China's actions recklessly endangered lives and threaten regional stability. As Chinese bullying continues in the West Philippine Sea, President Marcos will raise the maritime brow during the ASEAN Summit in Malaysia. The Foreign Affairs Department says the president will again stress the country's rights and sovereignty in the disputed waters, as well as the 2016 arbitral ruling that junked China's sweeping claims in the South China Sea. This year's summit will be held in Kuala Lumpur on May 26 and 27.
The president will continue to underscore the Philippines' sovereignty, sovereign rights, and jurisdiction in accordance with international law, including the 1982 UNCLOS and the 2016 arbitral award. Back in 2023, the foreign ministers of ASEAN, they agreed to fast-track the discussions on the COC. And this is what we are banking on during the summits. The president certainly will push for it. He will raise this with the leaders of the ASEAN.
Meantime, President Marcos has a packed schedule today in Pangasinan. Pierre Pastor is monitoring his activities and she joins us now on the line. Pierre.
Mai, on his first out-of-town trip after the midterm elections, President Bongbong Marcos visits Pangasinan and he has 3 activities here in 3 different towns. First in Santa Maria, second in Alaminos, and the third in Dagupan City. We're not covering the first one. It's a groundbreaking ceremony of the Lower Agno River Irrigation System, or LARIS. This LARIS, or the Paitan Dam, is a joint project of TAR and National Irrigation Administration, or NIA. This will provide irrigation to approximately 12,000 hectares of agricultural land, support the operation of 56 Irrigators Association, and 12,000 farmers. It will serve not only the towns of Pangasinan, but some parts of Tarlac and Nueva Ecija as well. We spoke to some of the farmers and they appreciate it very much as they don't have to spend more on irrigation because this project is free for all to use. This Paitan Dam is expected to be completed before 2027 there. Today also, the President, together with DAR Secretary Conrado Estrella, spearheaded the distribution of farm machineries and equipment and farm inputs, amounting to about 83 million pesos. This will benefit 7,645 agrarian reform beneficiaries and 300 agrarian reform organizations. This project is part of the Climate Resilient Farm Productivity Support that aims to help farmers adapt to impacts of the climate change on their agricultural practices and livelihood. And we're about to go to the next event of the President here in Pangasinan, which is the Sky Garden in Alaminos, and then later the Region 1 Medical Center Cancer Institute in Dagupan. Mai?
Thanks for that report. Pierre Pastor joining us from Pangasinan. We're taking a break. Up ahead, Disney announces major delays for the next 2 installments in the Avengers franchise. Entertainment and sports up next. You're watching Newsfeed at noon. back in Newsfeed at noon. Alex Ayala set to take on Colombian veteran Amelana Arango in her Grand Slam main draw debut at next week's French Open. Arango is a right-hander with a two-handed backhand whose career high rank is at 79. Ayala, now world number 69, earned her direct entry into the Roland Garros main draw with her impressive run at the Miami Open. She upset then world number 2 Iga Świątek and landed in the top 75 of the world rankings. Świątek won the last 3 Roland Garros singles titles. Ayala is the first Filipina to compete in a Grand Slam singles main draw. The reigning champions of the French Open are ready for their title defense at the Clay Court Classic. Iga Świątek is facing a tough potential semifinal clash against world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka. The Polish star has been struggling for form, but she says she will take things in Roland Garros one match at a time.
I'm working hard to be ready and to play as good tennis as possible. For sure, this season has had more like ups and downs than the years before. But yeah, you know, I know my game is there. I just need to figure out how to use it in the most important moments and in the best way during the matches, and that's it. But you know, tennis it's a sometimes complicated sport, but we should make it easy in our heads. So I'll just start step by step.
As for Carlos Alcaraz, the defending French Open champ avoided a loaded top half of the men's draw, but he could face 24-time Grand Slam king Novak Djokovic in the semis. The Spanish sensation says he likes his chances of completing a two-peat in the Grand Slam event.
The confidence is really high right now. Obviously, I've been playing great matches. I've got great wins in this clay season, which gives you a lot of confidence. So I'm excited. Well, I mean, I've said that I have achieved so much in really fast. Sometimes I think that it has been too fast. But it is the pace that I really want to keep going, you know, in my career. Let's see, you know, the difficult things in tennis is just to maintain the good level year after years.
In entertainment, our Miss Universe Philippines Atisa Manalo shares how staying grounded keeps her on track with her goals. She graced the set of It's a Beautiful Day this morning, and she opened up about overcoming setbacks and staying focused in life.
At a very young age, I think I had the grit from a very young age because I wanted a different life for myself and for my family. Like I would be bantay in our sari-sari store. I would sell textbooks, jolens, gagambas, anything I could get my hands to into making sure that I get savings and earnings, I would do. So I feel like at a very young age, I had the value, I understand the value of hard work and grit and perseverance. And I carried it all along with me up until, like, you know, I joined 3 times to get the Miss Universe crown.
Now Atisa uses her strengths to guide the youth to discover and develop their own potential.
I wasn't good at school when I was at school, in a sense that I'm not good at memorizing things, which is a basic thing in our education system. I'm not good at memorizing things, but I knew that I looked different from everyone else and I could use that to my advantage. And that's what we hope to do in Allen Academy. We want the kids to understand what they're naturally good at or what they're capable of or what they're interested in, and using that to create the lives they want for themselves.
Listen up, MCU fans. Our favorite team of heroes need more time to reassemble. Disney delays the release of Avengers Doomsday from May 1, 2026 to December 18 of the same year. Meanwhile, Avengers Secret Wars will now be released on December 2027 instead of May 2. Sources say the 2 films are among the biggest Disney has ever made. They will now follow Avengers Endgame, which was released in 2019 and is the second highest grossing movie of all time behind Avatar. Celebrities once again unite for a good cause at the glitzy Amphar Gala. The annual event is held on the sidelines of the Cannes Film Festival and aims to raise funds for HIV/AIDS research. This year's gala has taken on a sharper political tone after the Trump administration decided to cut funding for AIDS research and global health programs. Guests, including Taraji Henson and Coleman Domingo, called for action in response to the budget cuts.
I mean, it's going to take us to stand up for each other. That's why I'm here, because we have to support each other.
We've made so many strides in recent years, and so we can't go backwards. So I feel like, it takes, places like Amphar, and it's about the people, making sure that we take care of other people, and we don't just leave it just to governments. We just don't do it. We put our money where our mouth is because we take care of each other.
I think it's awful. I think it's really very short-sighted, and frankly, as an American, it's very difficult for me to understand because we've essentially gutted our global health approach, and it makes no sense in any way.
Speaking of Cannes, acclaimed director Lav Diaz does it again at the film festival. His latest film, Melan, which he spent 8 years making, received a 5-minute standing ovation. It is the only Filipino entry screened in the festival's ongoing 78th edition. The film stars Gael Garcia Bernal as Ferdinand Magellan and zeroes in on the final months of the explorer's life before his death on the shores of Mactan in 1521.
Gusto kong maging balanse yung pagtingin sa kwentong Magellan kasi lagi na lang nasa tinatawag na dominant eye ng mga Europeo o ng mga puting nilalang yung kwentong ito. Sa pelikulang ginawa namin, binalansin namin na may representasyon yung kamalayang Malay o Pilipino nung panahon na yun. Gusto kong balikan ang kasaysayan ito para maunawaan din natin hindi lang yung nakaraan kung bakit ganito tayo ngayon. Malaki ang impluwensya o mahalaga yung nagawa nung panahon na yon sa panahon ngayon.
This isn't the director's first appearance in Cannes. His 2013 film Norte Hangganan ng Kasaysayan and Ang Hupa in 2019 previously made it to the festival. And before we go, a new docu-series celebrating wildlife rangers and championed by none other than Prince William is set to premiere this week. Titled Guardians, the 6-part series will stream on BBC Earth's YouTube and social channels. It's the brainchild of the British royal who's made protecting nature a personal mission. And through the series, William aims to show the perilous work rangers undertake to protect the planet's most threatened environments. Guardians was produced by his charity United for Wildlife, which last year launched a 5-year plan to support 10,000 rangers across Africa. And those are the news this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on the Billionaire News channel. Good afternoon and happy weekend.